Hello everyone. As you all know, this we have added a feature called total open interest in OPSTRA also, which was already there in TradePoint. For TradePoint, you already have a video on Insight. So this is slightly different than that. More or less, it is the same principle and everything is the same. But recently, we have introduced it in OPSTRA. So this is a video to show how you can use it and how you can interpret that total open interest, because a lot of people have asked this question. So Raghunath is here with me and he will first explain the basic characteristics of what it is and how to plot it. And of course, I'll also join and explain how to interpret it and how to trade it. Yeah, over to you, Raghunath.
Okay, thank you. Hello guys. So we created this total open interest on OPSTRA as well, and it's made easy for you so that you can quickly check what the open interest is saying and how you can use them in your trading or how to read those signals. So here I'll talk only about how to construct the total open interest on the OPSTRA. So basically, here you can select the ticker, the one which you are interested in. And Nifty, Bank Nifty, there is no issue with liquidity, so it works fine. But when you go with stocks, I will tell you what you have to do, slightly different things. And then here you can select on which expiry you want to do and stick to the closest expiry as much as possible. And in the case of Nifty and Bank Nifty, stick to mostly weekly options because the liquidity has moved mostly into weekly options. And uh, for these choosing the strike, we gave a small information here that choose the at the money strike based on spot or future spreads as 30 am of current day. So this is something you have to reconstruct every day depending on how much the market has moved. So let's say it has moved 100 points, then you have to reconstruct the total open interest chart for this for any particular ticker. So this you have to change every day depending on how much it has moved. If it doesn't move much, then you can retain that from the previous day. And here the number of strikes that you have to choose here is, we have given a range like 4 to 6 strikes depending on liquidity. And for Nifty and Bank Nifty, there is no issue. So you can choose 4 to 6 strikes for Nifty and Bank Nifty. And for stocks, choose only 2 strikes, not more than that, because you don't have much liquidity in the stocks. And for the illiquid stocks, like when you go to mid cap kind of stocks, then don't choose more than 1 strike, okay, because you will not find liquidity beyond that. And for even more illiquid stocks, you don't even attempt to create a total open interest, because the readings will not be reliable and the updates will not be very frequent. So keep that in mind. And here you have an option of 50 strikes. Okay, so basically this is only for Nifty, where you have 750, 700, that kind of strikes, right? So here you can exclude those if you want. And for weekly options, you keep it same. Don't uncheck this. And only in the case of monthly options, where there is not much liquidity on the other 50 strike level, but there is good liquidity at 100 strike level. So if you're going to do monthly options, then you can uncheck these 50 strikes only from the liquidity point of view. For the weekly options, please keep it as 50 strikes checked. Okay. So right now this is monthly strike, monthly expiry, but we are in the last week of expiry, so it is pretty much acting like a weekly options. So we have to keep it as 50 strikes. We are choosing 50 strikes when we are constructing the total open interest. So once you select all these things, and then you add total open interest. Now For today, the markets opened at 15,500 level, 15,536, something like that. So I chose 15,500 as my at the money strike here. Okay. So for the whole day, you have to keep that 15,500 as your starting point, and then you add for the total open interest. Okay, so depending on the number of strikes chosen, it chooses in the money, out of the money, option strikes, and then dynamically calculates the total open interest. Now remember that this is not an indicator, this is a study, and AP can add more, how to interpret and all those things. Okay, so once this has been generated, and then in this you have four different options, four different lines and areas. This area chart, it belongs to the underlying. So in this case it's Nifty. So here you can track the pricing information of the Nifty futures, or in the case of any other underlying depending on what you chose. And then we have this dark blue or cyan kind of line. This is the total open interest value that we calculate. So this is total open interest. And then we have 10 exponential moving average of this total open interest, plus you also have 30 EMA, exponential moving average of TOI. So we have also this red and orange for the 10 one, and the 30 EMA is in red color. Okay, these will serve as your guidelines for your total open interest, and AP will explain this in more detail. So these are the four different lines that you have for your easy understanding and how to use the total open interest. Now once you add a total open interest, they are automatically saved in your watch list. You don't even have to save it. It's automatically saved. So you delete it, it's automatically again saved. So if you go back to some other page and come back to your total open interest, you will get the same exact list. And then when the page loads, it will load the first available uh, a total open interest chart that you chose. So for example, here I chose 1440 Adani strike. So now, as you can see, so for June 21, this should have been changed to 1500, right? If you look Adani net price, it was around 1520 at 9:30. It's around 1500. So it should have been Adani. So when you choose this, automatically you get the updated list of strikes. So you choose 1500, and for the strikes, you can choose 1, 2, 3 up to depending on the liquidity. For the large caps, you can choose 2 to 3. For mid caps and illiquid stocks, 2 to 1. So Adani net is kind of in between. So I choose 2 strikes. And when you add that, you get this total open interest for that particular day. Okay. And here you can zoom simply if you want. For somebody who's doing intraday trading, you just zoom on the 1 day, and every 5 minutes it's automatically updates. If it doesn't update, you can click on refresh or you can click on all, so that it automatically updates the chart. Okay, and then here you have all the information required, right? In the chart you have the money strike that you have chosen and the expiry you have chosen, and the stock information or the underlying information that you have chosen. And then here you have seen this in bracket, which shows how many strikes that you have chosen when you added this total open interest chart study. So you immediately know that if there is any problem, sometimes what happens is that you add some stock with 2 strikes and it doesn't update much. That is because the stock has went into a ban, like it has happened in the case of Adani ports, and it didn't update frequently. So in that case, you have to reduce the number of strikes to 1 to see some kind of updated charts. So that's the reason we gave this in brackets so that easy for you to check this part. And then again you have this 15 minutes, 30 minutes. So you have much more broader time frame to look at the chart. Okay. That is it. I mean, if you have any confusion, you can just unselect and you have only this total open interest and the stock price for a much more clear understanding if you want. And if you want some guidelines, you just add 10 EMA and 30 EMA. So, so by default, it's selected as all. So I suggest to use all in this case. And the time frame is 5 minutes. That is the ideal choice for most users. Okay, that is all from me, AP. If you don't have any doubts.
Yeah, can you just do one thing? I mean, I'll talk about it more. Can you just also add 15,600 TOI? I'll tell you why. I'll talk about it later. Just add it once.
Okay, 15,600 Nifty.
Yeah, yeah. And keep it on all.
Okay, and same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So if you are through with your uh, introduction to
Yeah,
how to look at it, I'll start.
yeah. You can take over.
Okay. So hello guys, I already have a video on Insight which was basically for the TOI on TradePoint. So since it is also on OPSTRA now and there are a small couple of changes in this, so we thought it is good to record this video and so that it will act as a guide to you to how to use it. So first of all, let me say it very strongly that total open interest, first of all, it is not, no, it can be your screen only, Raghunath.
Ah, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, first of all, the name is a bit misleading. It is not total open interest. I mean, the name is total open interest, of course, but it is not just the addition of total open interest. There are lots of other complicated calculations in this, and it also looks at for every single strike price, it looks at the open interest as well as the change of open interest for every single strike price which you have selected. Now, what does it mean? For example, if you have selected six strikes, like for the case of Nifty, it takes into account six lower, six higher than the selected strike price. So basically 13, 6 plus 1 plus 6, and the call and put of both. That is 26 strike prices. It is tracking dynamically every single minute. And then there is a formula which basically at the end of the whole thing, it just plots one single line, which is this dark color line. So that dark color line is what it means, what is happening below the surface in the market, which is not visible to the naked eye, even if you follow individual open interest of individual strike prices. So in a way, it is kind of a MRI study of the market, something which is not visible to the naked eye, neither on the charts. So that is number one. Number two is it you can also equate it to the, there are the two moving averages. It is not a moving average crossover system. They are just there to guide you to understand whether the main total open interest line is above the moving averages or below the moving averages. That's all. So that is what you need to see. It is more like when you go to a cinema, there is one guy at the door who shows the torch and shows you a seat, and so that you can go there comfortably even if it is dark. So it is just as a guiding element, and it is not a trading system in itself. Let me repeat that because there are some people who have told me that they are following it blindly. They use the word blindly, and that was extremely wrong. I told them immediately that you should not use it blindly because first of all, there is in this world there is no system which is accurate 100%. That is number one. Number two, this is just a guiding element, and finally you, the trade which you take has to be on the basis of a trigger on either the Nifty chart or Bank Nifty chart or the call chart or the put chart or whatever else which you usually use. So this is just a guideline to inform you whether the trend is changing or it is still continuing. That is the biggest important thing which it tells. For example, I told him to keep the 15,600 total open interest in front, which is what you can see right from day one of expiry, which is on the left. This June expiry, it was going continuously up. In fact, it is quite remarkable to see that when Nifty topped out at 15,900, okay, this was a bit in the money. It was 300 points. That was a time when this also topped out. Of course, you can't do anything in the first few couple of hours when it is still going down. But after that, it went down over here and below the two moving averages. That is the confirmed sign that the trend has changed. And I believe that was somewhere near 15,800 or 850 Nifty, which is hardly 60, 70 points from the top, which is quite a good indication, quite an early indication. And in fact, after that, you can follow your trading signals in the individual instrument, whichever you are trading, whether it is the Nifty futures or shorting a call or buying a put. And there were enough signals. I remember I shown it to even in the weekly expiry, because I think this was on, what was the date? This was before the 17th expiry, right? One day before.
Yes.
Yeah. So even in that expiry of 17 June, it gave good trades in the 15,900 and 15,850 put. And even later on, what you can do is you can also continue the trade by also entering into a monthly put, which was, I always say it should be at the money. So that time it was 15,850 or maybe even 15,900. And then that continued till this 2 days back. In fact, Friday. On Friday, what happened was, so this came down. It continuously was below the two moving averages, and here finally it gave a bottom. Of course, no one can say that this is the bottom, but after that, when it started going up, and then on Friday, 18 June, around 2 o'clock,
Yeah.
when Nifty was still quite near the lows, 15,500, 15,550, it went up. At that exact time, if you had seen the 15,500 call, in fact, in point and figure charts, we have a very good trigger, which is like a turtle breakout or a double top buy, which is what I have been tweeting about. In fact, today also I tweeted. So those gave a trading signal, and after that, it was just clear cut saying that it was Nifty was going up. So the first thing which this tells you, this is extremely important. You need to keep it in mind. The first thing which this tells you is what not to do. For example, here when this came down, this was shouting, "Don't be long in Nifty." This was the biggest signal it was giving. Do not be long. So once you move out of one of the two trades which are possible, long and short, half a year's job is done. So basically, you're not entering a wrong trade. That is number one. Number two is, even if you're long earlier, you get out of it. So you're booking your long. So that is the biggest signal which it gives what not to do. At the same time, here on the Friday afternoon, it told you don't be short. Okay, now people will say that today's gap down was not seen and all that. Fine, of course, that is something which no one could have predicted. Of course, it was depending on how the US market had closed, which closed, I think Dow closed at the lowest point on Friday night. And by that time, this had already closed deep in a buy signal on Friday closing. This was the place where TOI had closed. Nifty also had closed at the highest. Everyone knows that it had closed at, I think, 15,727 futures or something like that. So nothing can be done about that. So if you are long, you have to carry it. Otherwise, if you are not one of those persons who carry naked longs, you could have hedged it, whatever. But then what happened once market opened today morning? You can see here it never went into a sell signal. Nifty was down by more than 200 points, I think, based on the open today after Friday's close. Yet this did not give a sell signal, which meant you can hold your longs in case you are carrying them overnight. At the same time, keep a watch on this. So this went on for the first half an hour or something. After that, Nifty started rising. So in fact, even on point and figure charts, that is what I always keep talking about. The puts give a big anchor column in the morning, which is like a is a gap up. The calls give a big bearish anchor column. But after the first 5-10 minutes, there was no follow through. The morning lows were not broken. The point and figure chart did not have a bullish follow through on the puts and bearish follow through on the calls. So it was very clear that till such time that doesn't happen, hold your longs. If you are not carrying your longs, this was a signal to start looking for longs. And then that signal also came at in fact 15,550 call was at the money at that time. I have also tweeted a chart which showed how it was. It gave a turtle breakout at around 125, 127 on the 15,550 call. So that was a time to go long, and in fact that went and closed at some 265 or 270 over here, because throughout the day it was continuously going up. Now there are days when you can see two side movements in Nifty. That time this happens, and it can, in fact this came quite close to give a sell signal over here. People will say it had gone below one moving average, and it could have, I mean it was almost on the verge of giving, but immediately shot up. But then at the same time, this was not the place to go short, for the simple reason that Nifty futures or any call did not give a short signal, and any put did not give a buy signal. So this was a place where it could have tricked you, but just waiting for a confirmation could have helped you in carrying the longs. And after that, again, it was one way up. And this is something which usually happens on a trending day. There is a pullback. In fact, those people who use VWAP, that is a very good tool also to understand whether Nifty is becoming weak. I think it did not break VWAP at all. So that is how you can use it. Another thing which is also important is on many days, when it is especially when it is a trending day, the open interest of Nifty as well as Bank Nifty is in the same direction. There are some days when Bank Nifty is a bit weak and Nifty is strong, or alternative, vice versa. On such days, what happens is the TOI of Bank Nifty is in a sell mode, and for example, let's say Nifty is bearish. I mean, both are bearish and both are turning up. Nifty TOI gives a buy signal first, but Bank Nifty has not yet given that trigger. So that is still a time to be cautious in long. Don't go completely long, all because Bank Nifty has still not confirmed it. The moment Bank Nifty also does it, in fact, that is a kind of a divergence where you, of course, you need to cover your shorts if they're in Nifty. Happens second, then the trend is very clear. Both need to be in the same direction, because it is very well known that Bank Nifty components, which are in fact there are only 12 stocks, out of which there are so many stocks which are also have a good weightage in Nifty. In fact, I think it is some 35% of bank stocks are Nifty components, right? Something like that. So it is good to have both the TOI Nifty as well as Bank Nifty in the same direction. That is number two. Number three, another question which people ask is about changing the strike price. For example, today Nifty went all the way from 15,500 and closed near 15,750. So what happens is when the change in the underlying is more than 1 to 1.5%, which in the case of Nifty is more than 150 points, or in the case of Bank Nifty is more than 500, 700 points, then you have to shift this. I mean, you have to plot a new chart with the present current price as the ATM. So, Raghunath, if you can just, yeah, I think 15,700 is already there. So, if you can just open this 15,700. Yeah. Yeah. So of course that also has turned into a buy. To be honest, what happens is more or less all strike price gives the same picture. They are not very different. So whenever people ask me, I keep telling them that okay, you can shift the strike price, but more or less within 300-400 points, all strikes are showing the same trend on the open interest. And so what does it denote? This TOI line denotes the trend of the underlying. If it is going up, that means the underlying is going up. If it is going down, the underlying is going down. As simple as that. So you can, like I said, you can use your other parameters on other charts of the underlying or the call or put, and trade accordingly. It is, in fact, someone had also tweeted to me, normally when open interest goes up, underlying goes down. That is what I'm saying. This is not just open interest. This is not just total open interest. So don't go by the conventional studies of open interest. This is something different. Just follow the line, the trend of this line. Once it is below moving averages and it is going down, that means the underlying is going down. And you, as you can see, in fact, can you go back to that 15,600, the first one? All. Yeah. So like you saw here, right from the first day of this expiry, which was I think 28th May, all the way till 2 days back, which is Friday, Nifty trend was still up. Then it was down for a couple of days, and from Friday afternoon it is again up. So as long as it is up, there is no question of going short. Just carry it, and okay, you can hedge as per your own convenience, whatever it is you can do. But there is no reason to be short in this market as of now. Or for example, from 28th May till this 15,900 top, there was no reason to be short. I'm talking about positional basis. Even on intraday basis, you can see it was continuously above the moving averages. So the trend was very clearly up. Then for the next couple of days, the trend was very clearly down. In fact, Nifty went all the way down from 900 to 15,450. So it is very clear. So these are the rules which one has to follow. For stocks, like Raghunath said, it is not as clear as Nifty in terms of the interpretation every time. Of course, the interpretation is still the same. There is no change, but sometimes it does not plot well. That is only because the open interest changes are not as smooth in those stocks because of liquidity or whatever. And then since this just looks at the current open interest and the change over the last few minutes, it may not give the picture correctly. So in that case, either select all like he said, or go to a different strike price. For example, Reliance now 20 to 20, which is at the money, has closed quite strongly. So which means Reliance trend is up. So that is one indication. Another indication is, can you go to HDFC Bank 1480 and select all? Yeah, HDFC Bank is a clear-cut example how right from day one of this expiry, which was 28th May, HDFC Bank, though it was near 1520 or so, it was continuously down till Friday. In fact, that is something I had also tweeted on Friday. And then HDFC Bank was one of the first stocks to turn. Okay, it has not moved much today, but it was one of the first stocks to turn on Friday. And after that, in fact, it turned on Thursday itself. On Friday, right from open, it was continuously going up. Though HDFC Bank made a low only here, which was I think 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. It did go below the previous day's low, but the open interest was still going up. So this divergence indicated that something was going beneath the surface. So you needed to be cautious in your, if you were short in HDFC Bank, and then look for the first long signal, which it did give on Friday afternoon. I think because it went up from 1752, 1780 or something like that at close. 1480, and today also it has closed quite strongly. So you can take any stocks from the frontline main heavyweights like HDFC Bank, L&T, Reliance, Maruti, TCS, Infosys, SBI, Tata Steel. It works very well on Tata Steel also. So there are about 10-15 stocks on which it works beautifully. So you can use that, and very clearly it can tell you what the stock is. Yeah, you can plot Tata Steel also. I think you need to plot 1090 because in the morning it was lower. Yeah. So see, Tata Steel made a low here near 1050 or so on Friday. After that, it has been going up. Today morning also, it had dipped to 1080. After that, the TOI was continuously up after I think 11 o'clock or something like that. And then it was continuously up. So Tata Steel has closed also strongly. So apart from Nifty, Bank Nifty, if you keep an eye on 5 or 6 heavyweight in the index, heavyweight stocks, in fact, ICICI Bank, Tata Steel is not a heavyweight, TCS, SBI, HDFC Twins, that gives you a good idea. And at the same time, if Nifty and Bank Nifty are also in the same direction, then it is very clear, don't be short. In fact, we don't have historical data of TOI, but that is something which I had seen that time because no one knew that such a big news is going to be broken in the Adani group. When Adani stocks topped out, I think Adani Enterprises stop was near 1700. I think here you will have, can you select 1700 and all? I'm not sure whether it will come over here. Adani? Because that open interest, I mean, that strike price will not be liquid anymore, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you can take 1680, whichever comes highest possible. I'm not sure how this chart will look. Let's see.
No update
This is,
after.
you don't have the past data, right? Oh yeah, yeah, in fact, this is past
This
data
is
itself,
past data.
7 June.
Yeah.
So this was a time when Adani was 1700. You can see in the shaded graph over here, around 1700, and that was the time when 1680 topped out and it started coming down. This was 1 week before the news came. 1 week before, you need to keep that in mind. And after that, it was continuously going downhill. And of course, everyone knows where Adani went later on. I'm not saying that once it gives a sell signal, stocks fall that much. But the main point which I said earlier was it was shouting, "Don't be long." That was the biggest signal it was giving after coming down from 1700. And this is 7th June, I think, in the sort of second half. It started shouting, "Don't be long in this stock." So that was the biggest hint it gave that day. And whenever, I can assure you, whenever a stock changes its long-term direction, long-term in the sense, I mean the past 5 6 days trend or something like that. You have to use long-term for a monthly expiry, isn't it? If you're not talking about few years, when it is options, it is only monthly. So if a stock has been trending for 5 6 days, I think L&T also did the same thing. But can you plot L&T 1500? It changed direction right from the beginning of this month. I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah. So this was the time when LND topped out near 1580, and after that, within few hours, the open interest started coming down, and LNT has lost, I think, more than 100 points till yesterday. So what I'm trying to say is, whenever you have a good trend in the stock, any stock, or maybe even in Nifty, it pinpoints the turning point quite quickly. Within a couple of hours, you know that there is something wrong. The price would not have gone down much, but this suggests that you need to be out of your longs, and then any trader who trades both sides, you can start looking for short in that. So that is how TOI works. So happy trading, and of course, if you have any questions, you can always ask Raghunath or me. So use it more on Nifty, Bank Nifty, and the frontline stocks. Don't use it in stocks like, in fact, even HUL or Dabur, or those kind of stocks. It won't work well. And even in this frontline stock, there is a problem with the open interest. So
So, okay, AP, I have a couple of questions, to have more clarity here.
yeah,
So, so let's say there is a signal, for example, here it's 15,600 with Nifty. So
yeah,
when should be the buy signal? Let's say it has closed above, uh, in this case, closed above the 30 EMA TOI.
yeah.
So should you wait for a confirmation on the option charts as well, or some other parameters, or
Yeah,
can it be a standalone study?
no, no. Like I said, this is not a standalone indicator. So this is just a first hint, and you need a signal from the individual instrument which you are going to trade. For example, I know some people. In fact, there was one person on Twitter who keeps sending me DMs about his trades. These are purely based on TOI, nothing else. Of course, he uses desktop trade point. I'll just tell you something very simple which he does. He just uses Camarillo levels and a super trend on candlestick charts on a 5 minute time frame. That's all. Whenever the
Mm.
first thing is, he says, I wait for the TOI to go above the 2 EMAs. Once that is done, I cross check with at the money call and follow that chart. And once I have that buying signal, I will go long with the day's low as a stop loss. And in any case, he said most of the times the day's low is not more than 40 50 points away. So, and since he says that most of the times this can be held for 2 3 days, which is like a positional trade, 40 50 point stop loss is not much. So this is what he trades on a point and figure chart. Like I said, the first double top buy or a turtle breakout, even on the 1% chart of the call at the money call, is good enough. So the final trade is based on the individual instrument which one is going to trade, and this is just a hint. And then you have to just trade. Carry it forward, because, for example, this trade which came on Friday afternoon, I think 2 2:30. After that, it
Yeah.
was a question of being carry. I mean, just carrying it overnight. if you are afraid of the US market, if you are afraid of weekend, you are free to close it. That is up to you. If you are an intraday trader, or if you are want to be cautious, you can hedge it towards close by whatever, making it a covered
Yeah.
call or buying a put, whatever.
Make spread.
So
Spread.
yeah,
No, no, they can make it into a spread if you have a long
yeah, they can make a
option
spread.
position.
Yes, that is a good
Yes.
idea. And then of course that would that would have helped this morning. But then such days
Exactly.
are very rare. I mean,
Yeah.
this was one of the very crazy days, I would say, where we went all the way down to almost Friday lows, and we are
Yeah.
above it now. So it happens very rarely.
Yeah. So basically, the point here is that use this as one signal and use something like a breakout in underlying futures chart or underlying at the money option chart,
Yeah.
and then combine them both for a confirmatory signal, whether buy the option or sell the option in this
Yeah,
case.
in fact, some people use intraday VWAP for, I mean, entry and exit. So the intraday
Okay.
VWAP also can be used. I'm sure when this TOI goes above the moving averages, VWAP would have already been crossed. So that is maybe any pullback or something like that can be used. And I mean, any system which someone uses for current buying, this is just an additional tool which is far more reliable than. In fact, that is something which there's a lot of people have told me that I would have still bought it, but then this TOI going bullish is at the back of your mind is a huge sort of consolation. In fact, this morning someone was telling me that he would have bought in the morning in any case because of the big gap down. He just looked at
Yeah.
the TOI and he waited for the confirmation. After that, it was just a question of carrying it all the way till TOI
Yes.
was up. Otherwise, he said, I would have done 2 3 trades in between. I would have sold it, entered a put or
Yeah.
whatever. So this made sure that he can carry it throughout the day.
Yes. And also the exit, for example, if somebody is long, the exit, I mean, either the exit is concerned or lightening the long positions should be
Yeah.
done when it's closed below 30 EMA, right?
See, there are two things. If someone is trading Nifty futures, then it is fine. The entry can be at the beginning of the trend, and it can be, I mean, the exit can be at the end of the trend. Fine. But if someone is trading, let's say, naked options or spreads or something like that, then in any case, if Nifty has moved 400, 500 points, it doesn't make good sense to carry that deep in the money call. So it's always better to
Yeah.
switch to the first OTM or the ATM, isn't it? So let's say someone had
Yeah.
got a signal at 15,300.
Mm.
There is no reason why he should be holding 15,300 call when Nifty was
Yeah.
15,900. That is what I'm saying.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So you're suggesting to keep moving the strike price
Yeah, at least every
above?
200 points or
Yeah.
so, it's better to move the strike price. In any case, you are
Okay.
booking out and then you are buying from within your profit. So that is also a good
Yes.
advantage.
So it's a kind of trailing the stop loss basically.
Yeah. For example,
Yeah.
today if someone has bought at 15,550 when it gave a
Yeah.
buy, of course it was always in the buy,
Yes.
but towards close it was already near 15,750. So that call itself I think gave some 130 points or more intraday. So it is
Yeah.
quite a wise thing to book that and buy the 15,700 call within the profit of that
Yes.
550 call.
Yes. So another question I had was,
Yeah.
when you tweeted this HDFC Bank thing, there
Yeah.
was a huge divergence between what TOI was doing and what the HDFC Bank was doing.
Yes.
And during these times, I think you should be ready with the underlying chart, let's say the at the money option chart,
Yeah.
and see how it is behaving and then take a call accordingly, right?
Yeah. In
In
fact,
this case.
if you can just zoom it to only the last 3 days, it will be very clear. Is it possible? Yeah, just zoom it to the last 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Here.
for example, when
Yeah.
HDFC, this is the separating line, right? This is when Friday started over here, and immediately TOI
Yeah.
went up. But at the same time,
Yes.
I mean, the easiest thing, the first thing any price action trader would have done is he should have gone along only above the top of this 17 June, which is 1480 over here on the left hand side.
Yeah.
17 June
Yeah.
top, yeah, that one,
Yeah.
if at all. But it did
Yes.
not go. price was still coming down, though TOI was going up. So that is what I'm trying to say always. Don't believe only the TOI. It is just at the back of your mind. If you are short, make your stop loss very tight. Or if you want to enter long, wait for the price action on the underlying. And that eventually happened only today, actually.
Okay.
No, I think it did go up on Friday afternoon. I think it went up. Yes.
Yeah, I think 1450 call, if I remember, it went from 20 to 30.
Yes,
That
that's
call.
right. Yeah. No, I mean, even if someone wants to go long in the futures, the simple price action was going long only above 1476, which was the previous high.
Exactly.
Yeah. And by that time, you already had the TOI, which was in your favor. So it was a very sort of a consoling trade that both TOI as well as price is in your favor.
Yes. So to sum up, basically, TOI can be used to not take certain trades and also to take certain trades, and when to
First thing is what not to do. That is the biggest thing it tells you.
And also to when to lighten your positions, like for long positions or short positions.
Right.
TOI can act as a guide, when to do such things.
Yeah. In fact, if you can just plot one more chart, because I was showing it to someone over the weekend. Maruti 7300. Because everyone knows Maruti made a top near 7400. Even that was, I think, at the beginning of its expiry, and after that it is continuously weak. And if you make it all, I'm not sure whether it will plot. No, it won't plot.
No, it will plot. Sorry.
Okay, you can see the top here near 7360 on the 8th June, right?
Yes.
After that, this TOI is continuously going down, and in fact, Maruti went to what? See, below 6900 today.
Yeah.
Because why Maruti? I have always said that Maruti is one of the good stocks which can give a good trade in options almost every single month. In fact, I had tweeted the Maruti put chart also. I think it was a 70 to 100 put chart which went from 100 to 300. In fact, today must have been 400. No, 350 or something like that. So that is how it works. So it's just a question of having the patience to ride it after taking the correct hint and the actual trading trigger.
Okay.
In fact, you can see Infosys, TCS. Just plot TCS for a second. 3200, 3250 maybe. Yeah. So right from the beginning of, is it on all?
Yeah, it's on all.
Yeah, but since at the beginning of the expiry, the TCS was below 3200, so that's why 3250 will not be suitable for that time, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is fine here.
No. I mean, we should be seeing 3200.
Okay.
3200.
Oh yeah. Let me. Yeah, this is a problem because we are too far away from expiry.
Exactly.
So you will not have that much liquidity in the beginning.
Yeah. So this is a beautiful example in TCS where, of course, the underlying was also bullish. The calls were bullish. I remember, I think I tweeted the call chart also. But look how after 3130, 3140 at the beginning of the expiry, it was a bit sideways. But the TOI was continuously rising from 11 June. In fact, it was rising all the way from before only. And after 11 June, TOI went up sharply. And that was a time when TCS went up from 3150 all the way to 3330 or something, almost 200 points in a matter of 3-4 days. Yeah, so in fact, like I said, we already have seen HDFC Bank, Reliance, Tata Steel, TCS. You can see all the frontline stocks. It gives a good idea of what the stock is about to do.
Yeah, perfectly summed up, AP. So to summarize that, use TOI in your trading and use some other confirmatory study like option charts or futures charts and price action or VWAP. And then once you get a clear signal from both ends, then you can take a trade.
Yeah. So that's all from our side. If you have
Yeah.
any questions, of course, you can tweet to us or write to us or whatever.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.